Minneapolis, and Adrian Perryman in St. Paul. All three of us, in addition to being Vikings fans, obviously, play football weekly, so we bring that perspective as well. And this week is all about free agency. We'll talk Percy Harvin, Greg Jennings, Matt Castle, the Vikings' other free agent signings. But the biggest news this week is Percy Harvin's trade, the trade of Percy Harvin to the Seattle Seahawks for the Hawks' first round, 7th round draft picks in this year's draft, and 3rd round draft pick in next year's draft. So, Adrian, good deal for the Vikings or not?
I'm definitely a Percy Harvin fan, or I was a Percy Harvin fan. That's for sure. I think my Facebook status was that he's a great athlete. The Seattle Seahawks are going to win more games, but I lost a little respect for him because of it. But it's just that X factor, the kick return, and the ability to just at any time just to explode and have a touchdown that it's going to be hard to recreate with any amount of draft picks. So I will miss him.
Right. Well, the Vikings lost to, as you mentioned, a multi-dimensional talent, amazing receiver after the catch and getting yards after the catch, like a running back, breaking tackles along the way, and also his kick return abilities are amazing. But Rick, are the draft picks sufficient compensation for that talent?
No, but I think it's the best deal they could get. So I don't know what was wrong, but his teammates can't have been too happy with him. I know they said some things on Twitter that they were sad, but the guy doesn't come to games once he gets benched for his leg injury or foot injury. I don't know. Whatever was wrong, it was obviously serious, and I'm sure it's as good a deal as they could get.
Yeah, it was clear he was not happy there, and you can't really, I mean, obviously he was not happy with Christian Ponder, and however you feel about Ponder, you can't really have your star players complaining and sniping behind your quarterback's back. That's not good chemistry for the team.
Yeah.
Actually, I thought they got a really good deal for him. I thought a first-round pick was first and a third-round pick was pretty good compensation, considering that he's got a reputation as a malcontent.
Yeah, in the world of so many, being from Minnesota, born and raised, there's so many non-Minnesota fans, and they, of course, are saying, "Oh, the Vikings messed up." But if a guy doesn't want to be here, you can't keep him here. You can't force passion or willingness to play for a team. So that was not really possible for them.
And you wait another month, and he's worth half as much. Like, you get to training camp, and he doesn't have the same value.
Yeah, and you can force him to play. He had his rookie. He still had a year on his rookie contract, but you're going to have that malcontent in the locker room, and he's going to walk next year anyway, and you'll get nothing for him. So I thought they did a pretty good job. They did sign a replacement for him, sort of, if you can call it that, yesterday in Greg Jennings, former Packers wide receiver, 29-year-old. They signed him to a 5-year, $47.5 million contract. $18 million of that guaranteed. So is he a replacement?
I don't think you can replace him. I think it's a different piece of the puzzle, because yeah, you have that experience. Whether or not he's gonna be the go-to guy, he can definitely mentor some of the younger guys, and he will get that double team and help us out in that aspect. But I don't know if he can replace Percy. It's definitely another addition that will help.
They would have been better together.
That's right. That's right. Well, I think Jarius Wright showed something as a slot receiver last year when he got a chance to play. So he's no Percy Harvin, obviously, but he's got something. I mean, he looks like he could be a playmaker. So yeah, another piece of the puzzle for the Vikings receivers core. They re-signed Jerome Simpson, so there's that. But you just hope that Jennings has still got something. Been marred a bit by
got a fan.
Jerome Simpson.
By injury. But had receiving game, so we'll see how that goes. The one thing is, can he beat single coverage, because we haven't had a receiver to do that. I don't know if I haven't seen the highlights on him. I don't know if he can or not, considering he had Aaron Rodgers, throwing to him.
I watched the clips of him, the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't imagine Ponder making any of the throws that are in the highlights. There he runs around for a while and then he throws it 35 yards.
It's
going to be different.
Aaron Rodgers throwing to him, so.
Yeah, I just saw somebody post. I don't know if it was you or who it was, but posted the meme with the moment you realize your quarterback is is Christian Ponder, and he's bent over, sad. So it's a different world, but because has he always been with?
Yeah.
The Packers always had.
He's always had
or Ponder. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
watch the clips and think about Ponder. That's tough.
I don't know. I'm not as much of a hater on Ponder as a lot of people are. I recognize among all the quarterbacks that are available in that draft, he was not among the best. We didn't have the highest pick, but he is what he is. So I think this is his prove it year. We find out whether he's going to take the leap that he needs to take to be our quarterback in the future. And we picked up Matt Castle from the Chiefs. The moment he was released, practically from the Chiefs, the Vikings made a dash for him and signed him to I think it was a 2-year contract. So what do you guys think of Castle?
Yeah, I watched some of the videos and it reminded me. I forgot about the time when Brady was out and he came in and he was the next big thing, and they were figuring out what to do with him. But then he, of course, slipped through the tracks and had some other things. But he has that potential, so I'm looking forward to either the competition between the two, or if something goes wrong, putting Castle in and seeing what he can do with his abilities that he obviously has. They may not be as strong as they once were, but he had those abilities.
He's a backup. He's willing to be a backup. It is one of the advantages to Ponder is that it was a very attractive backup job. If you want to be a starter again, this is a good place to come. We got Adrian Peterson and we have Ponder. You're like, you want to rebuild your career? I don't know. It's better than the other many of the other backups.
Yeah, I remember when he took over for Brady after Brady was injured, and he looked like a rookie quarterback. But he had success that season because he had a lot of talent around him in New England and a good coach. And then he goes to Kansas City, has one good year there, but they hated him in Kansas City. And he kind of reminds me of Ponder.
Or T-Jack. That's who he reminds me of. Although he has turnovers.
Yeah. A lot of turnovers. Yeah. So I don't know. He's got a lot of experience. He's played a lot of games, so he's got plenty of experience, and I think he is an upgrade over Joe Webb. And you're right. If Ponder fails, then he's somebody that you can plug in there. What to do with Joe Webb, though?
Yeah, I don't know. I was a strong Joe Webb guy after his appearances in prior years, but then the Packers game, I don't know if he just didn't have enough time to prepare or what exactly it was, but he didn't show me much in that game. But I still think he has the ability to get in there to run a few downs, but I don't know I don't remember seeing many quarterbacks fully make that transition to the receiver if they want to save him from injuries, of what he can do. So I'm glad I'm not a coach because I don't know what I would do with him.
Webb's gone.
You think they're going to release him?
Yeah, I bet he's gone.
I don't know. I sort of like the idea of sticking him as a third-string quarterback and having him return kicks. he can return kicks. He showed that in the preseason. He's got that speed. Yeah. And then figure out a way to incorporate him into the offense as some type of wildcat option or something. Better than what they did before. It seems fairly clear that he's not going to catch the ball that well, or maybe he doesn't run routes because they sort of lost confidence in that over the course of time when they're trying that experiment out. But maybe if you put him on a bubble screen and you can look at the ball and catch it and use his speed and explosiveness to get by a defense. Who knows?
Yeah, he'd be a good practice quarterback to replicate Kaepernick and some of the other guys they're going to be playing with who who was going to be the new trend of quarterbacks. So having that in practice, being able to emulate that for the defense might be a good thing too.
Right. The other huge news this week is Antoine Winfield cut. 35 years old, but he was still bringing it. He had a great season last season. I knew he had he had a big contract. And he wasn't going to take a pay cut, but I was still shocked at them cutting him. What do you guys think?
It seems like he'd be he still has the ability, I think, but he's doing like what the Packers did with Jennings. They're not sure if he can still do that, and might as well get some young talent in. But once again, I will miss him. I'm afraid he's going to take it out on us if he ever plays against us and use some of that hard hitting on our guys. But we'll see.
Yeah, and it's been so long since we had to bring a cornerback up to tackle a running back that wasn't him, and it always worked. It'll be hard to train somebody else in for that job. When they miss and completely whiff on a running back, we'll be missing Antoine. Unless they re-sign him.
And it's not like the Vikings. I doubt he's going to re-sign. I think he was insulted by being cut the way he was cut. But we're not exactly strong in defensive backs. We got Chris Cook injured all the time. You got Josh Robinson, who was okay, but still young. And who else do we have?
But the contract was just upside down. If they sign him to a new deal and he gets a ton of money for this year, when we don't really care, this is the year where we got to figure out whether Ponder's the guy or not. We're not going to the Super Bowl this year, and then he's older for the next two. It just didn't make much sense for the Vikings to have a guy whose best year is probably this one, and pay him at the top. He should be on a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, and that's probably where he'll end up. But they cut him to make room for Phil Loadholt's contract. Loadholt signed a multi-year contract that made him the highest-paid offensive lineman on the Vikings and one of the highest-paid right tackles in the league. Worth it?
I don't know. I always find it hard to analyze linemen. I don't know what they do. I know they, of course, do plenty of blocking, but they always got some sacks going, things like that. So I can't compare. I know I've seen Phil Loadholt in person once or twice in random times. He's a big, scary-looking guy, so maybe he's got that intimidation factor. But as far as big money, I don't know how to compare and contrast the lineman side of things.
He's probably more important to the Vikings than he would be to any other team because he's a run blocker first. And sometimes that works out where you can pay a guy less, and sometimes that works out where you got to pay him more. It seems like they're a little bit on the pay him more scale of thing, side of the scale. But they needed him.
Well, if I remember correctly, Pro Football Focus, it's a website that they grade every snap of every player on every down in their career, basically. And they rated him highly as a run blocker. I don't remember as a pass blocker, but just from memory, he did have problems with edge rushers. I think he's gotten better at that over the years. But
I think last year they had him number one run blocking and at the bottom for the pass blocking. And it seems like his pass blocking improved. And the difference in the line the last 2 years, the number of times Peterson got to the second level before he had to make something unbelievable happen last year was markedly different. 2 years ago, it happened 3 times, and last year it happened regularly.
And a lot of that had to do with Jerome
Simpson.
Yes, who they resigned to get. So there's another good signing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, if he's the run blocker, keep him because we have all we need is AP. So as long as we give him enough to get past that first line, he can take it from there. In my opinion,
I thought Felton was unbelievably good last year. I'm very happy they kept him. I'm as happy about that as I am about Jennings. I think he's a big deal.
Jennings?
Yeah.
Yeah. Felton, Fulton, sorry. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Rick. And going from Nafahu Tai, my favorite Viking, who bounced off defenders rather than moving them or sealing them and opening lanes for Adrian. Yeah, night and day difference. So the Vikings also re-signed Jamarca Sanford, Erin Henderson. We mentioned Jerome Simpson, Joe Berger. Those are their own free agents that they re-signed. They renegotiated with John Carlson. Good, because he was way overpaid. And Brinkley walked. He signed with the Cardinals, and Geoff Schwartz, offensive lineman, signed with the Chiefs. We still got Devin Aromashodu and Marvin Mitchell out there. So it looks like their free agency activity is largely come to an end. They may sign some second or third tier players, but it looks like they're looking towards the draft now. So, what do we? Where are our weaknesses now?
No middle linebacker. That's a big one.
Well, we didn't have one last year.
That's right. I don't know who's going to fill in. I mean, at least now they go into the draft needing more than just receivers. You know, we got one of the receiver spots. They can fill in, get a linebacker, get a cornerback or two, and hopefully some defensive line help.
Yeah, I think we've definitely done well in the draft with like Harrison Smith last year and other players coming straight in. So I think we have a good chance of pulling in a lot of great players with the draft picks we do have.
Should we keep those 2 first-round picks or package to move up?
I'm not sure. I haven't analyzed the draft. I've watched a little bit of the combine things, but there's so much going on. I don't know who's where right now.
I suspect we're better off with 2 starters, but I mean, that's I think one of the things that changes with Jennings. I think they would have been real tempted to move up and get one of the top receivers. Now they don't have to. They have a lot of holes to fill.
Yeah, they do. Well, let's wrap it up for this week. I'm David Erickson, the host of this podcast and the publisher of MinnesotaVikingsChat.com. Rick, tell us what you do and how people can get a hold of you.
I am the development director for Neighbors Incorporated, a nonprofit social service agency in South St. Paul. And I guess I don't know why you'd want to, but you can email me at rickbirmingham@gmail.com.
They can give you food.
Yes, they can donate food.
Part of
Please donate food. Yeah, it's Minnesota Food Share Month, so we would love support.
Very good. Adrian, what are you doing? How can people reach you?
Yeah, well, I wear many a hat, but I guess the funnest one is I'm a DJ. I'll show you my website. Events by MV is my DJ service. I've been DJing for about 10 years, but everything from weddings, high school dances, birthday parties, all the above. I have a wedding this evening at the Walker Arts Center. Of course, that's not an invite to anybody, but if you do need a DJ for that, my website, eventsbymv.com, or email at info@eventsbymv. MV, M as in Mary, V as in Victor, Minnesota Vikings. There was one year that the Vikings had their logo during preseason that was a big MV. I wanted to take a screenshot of that, but I never found a picture of it to utilize in some illegal promotion, but maybe they'll use it again.
Very good. So follow Minnesota Vikings Chat on Twitter at MNVikingsChat. We use the hashtag VikingsChat to talk about the Vikings during games. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Minnesota Vikings Chat. You can email me at david@MinnesotaVikingsChat. The website, of course, is MinnesotaVikingsChat.com. Until next week, go Vikings. Hi, thanks for watching the inaugural Minnesota Vikings Chat podcast. If you liked what you saw, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more of them. So what do you think? The Percy Harvin trade, was that a good deal for the Vikings or not? The signings of Greg Jennings and Matt Castle, good deal or not? Bring back Phil Lodeholt, Jerome Felton, cutting Antoine Winfield. What about the Vikings free agency moves did you like and didn't you like. Leave your comments below. And if you like this podcast, make sure you like the video. Make sure you share the video. And, of course, subscribe so you don't miss any more. And thanks for watching.